Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for refusing to shave my head in solitary with my cousin? I, 15F, have a cousin, Anna, also 15F. We spent every minute together growing up, and I only ever really think of her as my best friend, not as my cousin. A few weeks ago, Anna got diagnosed with cancer. I won't go into the details, but it was a shock to all my family, and while the doctor said she should survive with treatment, they suggested she start chemo ASAP. I haven't been going to school much the past weeks, and have been staying at their house most of the time. Anna has difficulties making friends, and I think she just wanted to be with someone she actually trusted. Not that she doesn't trust her parents, but it's a different kind of trust. Obviously, it's a horribly situation, but she's taken it reasonably well considering the circumstances. She decided to shave her head before starting chemo, and booked an appointment to get it done. A few days before the appointment, my aunt invited me and my mum over and told us she was going to surprise Anna by shaving her head too when she was out getting hers done. We thought it was a great idea, and I know it would mean a lot to Anna. However, she then asked my mum and I to do it with her. My mum agreed, but I didn't want to. I know it sounds selfish, but I know Anna, and I really didn't see how me not doing it would have a negative impact on her. I didn't want to stand out at school or have anyone say anything about it. I'm aware how bad that sounds, since Anna doesn't have a choice, but that's really my only reason. My aunt got angry and started yelling at me, saying I was selfish and didn't care about Anna at all. She wouldn't let me explain and called me an asshole. She told me to go home and that I wasn't welcome back to her house. She said if I actually wanted to help Anna, I would do this one little thing for her, and I clearly didn't care about anyone but myself. My parents thought what my aunt did was unfair, but I couldn't blame her considering how much pressure she was under. I agree, but I don't really care about her apologizing. I just want her to let me back into Anna's life. The ironic part of I secretly texted Anna and told her what happened, and she said that she didn't care at all whether or not I shaved my head. I haven't been able to see her since, despite asking my aunt many times to hear me out, and she's still saying, until I shave my head I'm not welcome. So, am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA, your aunt is clearly struggling with this recent news and is misplacing her anger. By doing this, however, she is upsetting you and her unwell daughter. Support is immensely important when it comes to recovery. Your cousin needs you, and your aunt's hang up is going to cause her a huge deal of unnecessary stress. Perhaps you could come up with something else, so your aunt feels like you and others are actively doing something to help. Maybe a small fundraiser, so your cousin could treat herself to some comforting items for her recovery journey, for example. I'm sorry your cousin and yourself are going through this additional turmoil, and I hope your aunt sees the error of her ways very soon. Honestly, I'm very impressed with your empathy. Personally, I think someone needs to pull Aunt up and let her know in uncertain terms that she has gone beyond the pale by punishing her daughter and her cousin by keeping them separated when their bond is most needed. It may be harsh on a mother going through an incredibly difficult time, but her actions subsequent to our reasonable non-participation would have burned through a lot of sympathy for me. For most other things, sure, find a way to appease her for now, but for things that is hurting her daughter, Aunt is second priority mo. However, she then asked my mum and I to do it with her. Where I come from, when you ask a question, you are prepared to hear any possible answer, including no. People who ask questions only expecting the answer to be what they want it to be are assholes. NTA, I recently learned of a phenomenon that some people only ask questions they believe is going to be a yes and get extremely offended when told no. They also hate having questions asked if they want/have to say no. My ex once said, "Why would you ask a question you don't know the answer to?" and looked at me like I'm the crazy one. That's what questions are for. To learn information you didn't already have. Am I the antagonist for telling my GF she's not a real doctor? So my GF in school to become a psychiatrist. I think it's great and am 100% supporting this choice. I'm also in uni, and I share with 4 roommates. This event concerns my youngest roommate, 19 male, who has a compulsive disorder. This means he will sometimes say things, do actions or make noise that he has little control over. It's never a big this, he just does them and moves on. He has never once claimed to have Tourette syndrome and has even corrected people when they say he does. Anyway, my girlfriend came over just to hang out, and partway through the evening, she started giving my roommate dirty looks. Honestly, I thought it was in a joking way because he beat us at a game. But when he went outside she turned to me and said he's faking those tics. I can tell. People with Tourette's don't act like that. I told her that he doesn't have Tourette's, but a compulsive disorder instead. She then started going off about how he's clearly faking it. I told her that it's not her place to say if he is, since she's not his doctor, nor is she an actual doctor yet, since she's still a student. She started screaming at me, telling me I was diminishing her career, getting up and storming out. She ran into my roommate on the way out and screamed at him as well, calling him a pose and a faker. I didn't think what I said was wrong, but I did not expect her to explode like that. And she doesn't act like that too often. So am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA. And as an aspiring psychiatrist, your GF should know to act better. Agreed. She'd make a terrible doctor or psychiatrist with her judgmental outlook. Your girlfriend is a huge R. No matter what your roommate's situation may be. From what you wrote it doesn't seem like he's bothering anyone. She has no right to just go around and randomly call people pose. You only stated that she isn't a doctor, which she isn't. She's got some anger management issues. NTA. NTA. She apparently missed the first, and second, and third, and millionth thing they tell you in psychology school, which is never diagnose based on a single test. She doesn't even have a test. She's diagnosing from out her ass. Am I the antagonist for watching and not doing anything while my wife was being kicked out of my company? Hear me out. Just read the whole text. So my wife, F, 26, and I, male, 33, been married for 2 years. I admit that she is a hothead and can be a bit much, especially when she's mad at me. I take responsibility for any mistake Jay make, like not cleaning the bathroom after the shower or filling her car with gas after using it. I even stand there and let her unload her anger and frustration on me, but only at home and not in public. She tends to start arguing with me in public instead of waiting till we get home. Recently she's been coming to my workplace to berate me over something I did the night before, like not getting the stuff I said I would get or doing the stuff I said I would do. It's embarrassing and humiliating. And has been affecting my job to the point where I started getting a warning after a warning from my superiors, who, I believe, have been very patient and understanding, especially when my wife makes a fuss at the office. Last week I was in the middle of a 2-hour meeting, and next thing I knew was seeing my wife barge in while yelling at me, asking why I was keeping my phone turned off. I had to turn it off after getting warnings about since she forbid me from turning it off. I was stunned because my superior and co-workers and potential clients were there. I didn't even move. My superior dealt with it and called security to get her out. My wife started arguing with him, telling him she came for me, then started urging me to get off my seat and tell them to back off. But I didn't. I just watched as security escorted her out. It was horrible because I had a fear that my job was lost. She yelled at me repeatedly to get them to stop, but she got kicked out eventually. I got told she's no longer allowed there and that this was going to be my final last warning. I apologized, then went home. She was there waiting, then yelled about me watching and doing nothing. She was getting mistreated and kicked out. I finally snapped and said she was over the line. Made a scene that risked my job over few missed calls. She started crying, saying I still should have defended her after getting humiliated in front of my co-workers, but told her she didn't have to worry about it because she's no longer allowed there. She got more furious and went to her mom's to stay there. Now for the top comments. NTA. This is a form of abuse and I would take this with a strong understanding that things are getting worse. You never show up to a spouse's place of work like that. That's what I told her. a million times over, but she refused to take responsibility and said that I'm the one creating these situations and I can't blame or dictate how she reacts. It's tiring having to go through the same thing over and over again. I get she's frustrated, and I have my moments too, but I'd never show up to her workplace and cause a scene, no matter what the justification is. NTA. And this is 100% divorce worthy. Yeah, seconding this. Maybe not straight to divorce, but bro P, you're in an abusive relationship. She turned on the manipulation when you defended yourself, but even in the best scenario your partner doesn't belong at your workplace. Barring some horrible catastrophic emergency, you also shouldn't have to fear getting berated for something like leaving a towel on the ground. You deserve better and don't have to put up with abuse. You can try to get your partner to change, but it starts with setting very clear boundaries, her not going to your workplace and not blowing up at you for minor things sound like a start. Generally this isn't enough and divorce will be the answer, but you can give it a try. Just make sure you take care of you, since no one else will. Am I the antagonist for not watching my sister's children while she finds herself? My sister is going through a messy divorce and her ex-husband has ghosted her. She was a stay-at-home mom during the marriage and that's what she has done for the last 10 years. My sister is on I much reclaim my youth phase. She wants me, I'm single and live in a small 1-bedroom apartment in California, to watch her kids for the summer while she heals. The thing is my sister lives about 1500 miles from me, and even though I work from home 3 days a week I'm still working about 50 hours a week and there's no way I can take care of a 5 and 7-year-old the whole freaking summer. It's not like I can just magically take off work for 3 months. My sister is hurt and said I can get a nanny and I can afford it. She starts crying she needs to reclaim herself over the summer. I told her that's bullshit and millions of people go through divorces, and I doubt many people have someone else watch their children for them all summer. She was crying over the phone saying how she needed this, and it's not fair that I don't have to take care of children. I don't even have a boyfriend, she told me. I ended the call with you need to stop being selfish and think of your children during this divorce and you just can't dump them on other people while you find yourself. I don't know where she's getting this advice from and it's stupid. My sister took it as calling her stupid and I talk just like her ex-husband. I was exhausted with arguing with her, so I just said no, it's not happening. Now for the top comments. NTA, you work full time and have a life to live. It doesn't matter if you can afford a nanny, it's not your sister's place to delegate where your money goes, and don't give in to her argument and stay firm on your decision as she will try to guilt you. Your sister needs to understand that you can't just dump your kids on someone for 3 months. Yes, mental health is important, but you can't stop being a mum when you are going through something tough in life. I could understand maybe a few days or a week, but not 3 whole months. Also, Jesus Christ, those poor kids need some stability and familiarity. Being offloaded on someone they don't see often in a new city is just going to make things harder on them. NTA. And props for standing your ground and not being manipulated into an unreasonable situation. Not mention the poor kids. Dad pulls a Casper and mom tries to dump them on their aunt/uncle for 3 months. Their lives have been turned upside down so hard they probably don't remember what right side up looks like anymore. Am I the antagonist for calling my sister's teacher an idiot? So I'm F23. Moved out. My sister is 15 and is still living with our parents. A few days ago, my parents asked me to pick her up from school because she got in trouble and they couldn't. When I get there, I ask the teachers what she did to get in trouble because my sister is a very non-troublesome student. From my knowledge at least. They tell me my sister disrespected them and walked out of class. I ask her if that's true and she says how she's on her period. Asked to go to the washroom. The teacher said no. She said it was an emergency. The teacher still said no. His defense was that he was explaining a big project that he wanted her to stay and listen to before going. So my sister basically interrupted and announced that she was on her period and needed to go. This just made the teacher mad because she interrupted and he told her that her period doesn't give her a free pass to leave when she wants. Her response was to argue back, to which he said she'd get detention if she kept doing that. Then she told him to fuck off and walked out of class. Of course. I laughed at the situation, because my sister doesn't get that mad, nor does she do something that rebellious. But I was also slightly pissed that this man had the audacity to tell her what he did. So I told him that he kind of asked for that response, and that you should let a woman go when she's on her period, because it's very messy, uncomfortable and just annoying if you just make her wait to go. He was very stubborn and said something along the lines of how waiting for just a few minutes isn't that hard and how my sister was just being over dramatic. I called him an idiot and said that he, as a man, should not say BS like that when he doesn't really know what it's like. This just turned into him calling me disrespectful and how he'll just talk to our parents. So I just took my sister home telling he can just complain to them if he wants. My parents think he is in the wrong, but that I shouldn't insulted him. So am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. By just reading the title. No, by reading the whole thing. No, the teacher is asshole and don't understand biology. Seriously, it is such a non-issue. Grab a small toy, put it in class, call it the toilet toy. When they need to go, they take the toy, put it where they were sitting, and go. You see the toys on a kid's desk. They are in the bathroom. Kid comes back. Toy gets returned. Next kid can use it, and kid is responsible for quietly asking what they missed. No interruptions. No gangs of kids in the bathroom. Easy peasy. Done this with all age groups. Simple system. Heck, it would probably work in a shared bathroom situation at a flat. Why do some teachers get hung up on the wrong things? This isn't about periods. It is about power tripping assholes needing to belittle kids for their own egos. Assuming this happened, not the a-hole, any teacher worth their salt knows that you allow bathroom breaks for this exact reason. I made this mistake once by asking the student not to take her bag. Now, my daughter's science teacher is like this, never letting kids go. We had words. Am I the antagonist for putting an AirTag in my car without telling my BF? My BF's car got into an accident and now he is driving my car as IWFH. I don't like it because he isn't very careful and he beat up his car a lot before it was totaled, but it's either that or he doesn't work. I noticed he was coming home later for the last month, so I checked the mileage and it's going up higher than it should since he is only driving it to work and back. So I put an AirTag into my car without telling him to see if he just goes to work. He doesn't, since it looks like it often finishes work early and heads to the restaurant in downtown. I asked him where he was on one particular day and he said he just came home from work, but the AirTag shows he went to a pub for 2 hours after work. I made it clear he can't drink at all when driving my car, but I think he does. He doesn't act drunk or my thing. He was an insane tolerance. He can do 20 shots a night without passing out. I confronted him about going to pubs and restaurants after work rather than coming straight home, and he yelled at me for tracking him, and I asked him if he drank, and he denied it. I told him he had to bring my car home directly after work and he can go out in an Uber, and he called me controlling, and I called him a deadbeat for using my car when he promised he would get another one months ago. I told him he can't drive my car anymore, but he hid his copy of my car keys, so I'm taking my car to my parents, so he can't take it anymore. He is pissed because I tracked him, and now he can't use my car to get to work, so he will need to take 2H train and bus to work each way. Now for the top comments. NTA. Sounds like you are dating an alcoholic that drinks and drives constantly. Never let him touch your car, and I'd rethink the relationship if he won't get help. Edit because this is at the top. You are opening yourself up to huge legal liability by letting him drive drunk. Insurance will generally not cover drunk driving. And if he beat up his car a lot before totaling it, it sounds like he is driving drunk a lot and hitting things. He might not look or act drunk, but his blood/alcohol percent is almost certainly over the limit. If you are considering staying with him, invest in a nice life insurance policy because he is an accident waiting to happen. NTA. He hid his copy of your car keys after you told him he couldn't drive your car anymore. Why are you still with this person? If he does manage to take your car again without your permission, immediately report it stolen and give the police the address of the pub he is likely to be at.